Welcome to Death and Aliens, an in-depth look at horror and sci-fi TV from two friends who vaguely know what they're doing. I'm MK.
And I'm Courtney.
And Courtney, how are you?
Well, don't mind me, but I am hanging out in my bridesmaid era because I got my super cute bridesmaid box from my bestie MK.
Yay.
And what better way to break it in than with some sweet tea? Um,
Perfect. Perfect.
so I'm good.
I
I'm
actually
thriving.
I actually have a bridal planning water bottle also.
I love it.
It says start your day with lemon water, take care of your body, make yourself a priority, keep calm and plan on, stress less.
That is very sweet and very
Yeah.
necessary.
Yeah.
I
And
have
it
my
it
little
also
box here.
It also means
Oh,
I've
go ahead.
drank a full bottle of water 3 days in a row. Who am I?
Oh,
I don't know.
look at who are you? You are hydrated. You are hydrated bride. Error, Barbie. Um, I don't know. Just putting
Perfect.
all of them together.
Yes.
So I was gonna do a little quick unboxing to show the
Yay!
fans. And for those of you listening, I'll just tell you in excruciating detail. Um, I got this beautiful little ornament that has my name on it and the date of the wedding and says bridesmaid. It's gold and beautiful. You did send two types of straws, which made me very happy because you sent a metal and
Yeah.
a glass
Yes.
plastic.
Yep. No, everyone got a metal and a glass straw. Some people, they didn't give me the same number of bent and straight straws. So like
Mm,
some people like Dan's sister needs a bent curved straw, so I gave her the curved straw and I was like, Courtney seems like a straight straw girly anyway, so if I give her the straight straws, she'll be good.
I survived. I survived. I also really prefer glass straw, so that's the one I went with anyways to start. So
Perfect.
I have this beautiful scrunchie that is going to come in major handy. This beautiful candle. This is I can't get hitched without my favorite bitch, and it's one of my favorite. It's the first thing I saw when I opened the box, so I'm very excited about that.
And
Oh,
the scent of the candle, if you don't know, if you didn't smell it, the scent of the candle is roses because that's gonna be one of my flowers.
it is roses. I smelled it and then didn't think about it. But yeah, I loved it. So I have this beautiful box, this beautiful card, and I thought I ordered a lighter when I ordered the other day, and it seems I did not. So I will try again. And then I will light my candle while
Yay.
singing rant songs because that's how I light candles. Um, but yeah, so I'm excited for the new year, excited to be new. I'm knocking everything off of my shelf. So obviously things are not that new for me.
No.
I'm just as much of a mess as I was last year, so don't worry.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I guess that's it. I guess that's me. I don't know. I went home for the holidays and it was lovely and I saw wonderful people. How are you?
I mean, I had a pretty good holiday except for that. Everyone was sick. I wasn't sick. But then again, I had bronchitis for 2 months before the holidays, so like
Right.
whatever. But like
And then you
Dan
gave it to
was,
me.
yeah, via Zoom.
Mhm.
Dan was sick, so like I saw him on Christmas Day, and then I didn't see him again until New Year's Eve. Um, I just like existed, which was really nice because like I had off from the podcast and from both jobs and from school. So like I literally just did nothing. And like I
That's
totally should have
amazing.
used that time to like be productive in other ways. Didn't.
It's okay.
Don't feel bad about it. Um, I mean, it was nice. I got some nice Christmas presents. I got some family time. It was all good. I did not want to go back to work at all.
Same.
Um, Mostly realized that like the only thing I care about right now is the wedding, which makes sense, but also makes work a little difficult.
Hmm hmm Yeah, that'll happen.
Yeah. I mean, and it's not just my wedding. Like I'm literally working on 4 weddings in the next year. So like
Ugh, that is too many weddings.
it is. It is for sure. But yeah, so I'm just here. I'm existing. I was like, I'm gonna be a person, and my goal for 2024 is to actually have makeup on in every episode of the podcast. And I do have makeup on,
Love
but I'm
it.
but I'm also wearing like a fundraiser t-shirt and Dan's high school student council hoodie. So like not really a person.
That's okay. I'm wearing my sequined shirt for you with my new red lip gloss lipstick that I've discovered my mom gave me.
No. Yeah, no,
So
I'm wearing a high school hoodie and drinking like 2-month-old wine. So like I'm gonna pretend I'm thriving, but that's not what's happening.
again, we have not changed. We're
No.
just here also in the new year with you.
Right. Um, but you know what else hasn't changed?
What is that?
How much I need to be spiritually affirmed in order to
Absolutely.
go
Let me
on with my life.
pull that back up. Sorry, I set up my watch today. Now I don't know how to turn any of my sounds off. So I'm trying to make them not go off at the podcast.
Good.
But here's
I just don't know how to stop taking screenshots. Like I've had my watch for like a year. Every day it's like screenshot on your phone gallery. And I was like, I didn't mean that. I
I
don't know
don't
how I did that.
right. We don't need that. Okay, but I do have some spiritual guidance for you that maybe will help us with our electronics. Probably won't.
Probably
Um,
not.
to the one who needs to hear it, it's okay if you've needed to slow down. It's okay if things are taking longer than expected. It's okay if this season has felt difficult. You are here and showing up, and that's enough. And it
That,
has Winnie the Pooh on it.
that's
So,
beautiful. I love it.
thank you.
I love
Thank
it.
you.
Yeah, but I mean, that's truly where we are. Like, we're here and we are showing up, and that is truly enough.
I'm only halfway showing up. I'm showing up here.
Yeah.
I'm doing my best to show up everywhere else.
That's fine. It's really fine. I have no transition. We're just gonna talk about the episode.
This episode was also here. It did not.
Yeah.
It
I
did not
mean,
ascend. We did not ascend with it. I don't know.
well, I don't know. I got nothing. I tried and my brain was like, you're never gonna get there. Just give up.
Good plan.
Yeah. One side note about this episode before we get into it, I described someone as a suit in this episode while I was watching it. Dan
Oh
didn't know what
yeah.
that meant. Dan did not know what that meant. I
Oh, bless his heart.
was like, oh,
That's like
okay.
a common
Yeah.
phrase term.
Right? I was like the one
Yeah,
the
yeah.
current the one character is like part of the Air Force, but not really. He works in the Pentagon. He's
Yeah,
not a good guy.
Pentagon
And I was
guy.
like, yeah. I was like, yeah, he's a suit in this show. And Dan was like, a who? I was like, he wears a suit and it's not a good guy. That what?
Right.
What?
Yes.
Anyway, this episode
Bless.
is Stargate SG-1, Season 5, Episode 3. And for those of you listening, there was only a week between Episode 2 and Episode 3. But for Courtney and I, there was like almost a solid fucking month. And so, like, this was not the easiest thing to get back into because I was like, I don't even know what
I
I'm
had
talking
to
about.
be very sure of what episode I was gonna watch. And I almost texted you, and then I was like, it's 1 in the morning. I'm just gonna watch it. We're gonna hope for the best.
Yeah. This episode is called Ascension. Also, I took my pre-show notes 4 days ago, so I don't know what I wrote, so we'll see. Um, Came out on July 13th, 2001, and was rated 7.6 stars. The number one book at that time was Leap of Faith by Danielle Steele. I have never in my life read a Danielle Steele novel, but at least you just say a Danielle Steele novel and everybody kind of knows what you're talking about.
You get it. You get it.
Yeah. The number one movie, oh no, the number one song was the same song as last week, which I believe was Usher. Yes, it was. It was You Remind Me. It's a letter U.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The number one movie was The Score, which is a Frank Oz film starring Marlon Brando, Robert De Niro, and Edward Norton.
I don't know that I've
Um,
ever seen a Frank Oz film. Like, I'm familiar with his existence.
yeah. So this movie, I always feel like I've seen it, but I think it's because it's the movie that like inspired the TV show Leverage. And I've definitely
No, no.
seen the TV show Leverage. It's one of my favorites, but basically like
He
they're
did all the
like
Muppets. I've totally seen his stuff. I'm so sorry. A Little Shop of Horror. Okay, I've seen everything he's done but this. He also did Labyrinth and The Dark Crystal and The Stepford Wife. Literally, I've seen everything he's done except this one movie. So I
I don't think I've ever seen a Frank Oz film. Oh, just kidding. I've seen every Frank Oz film that exists.
every one of them.
Um,
It's dangerous now
spe-
that I'm not using my phone to record and I can look stuff up and just immediately see how my brain is not connected.
um, this one is about like a career thief who like is masterminding like a massive plan and gets involved
Mm.
with a bunch of like stuff. It's an action thriller. I every time I read about it, I go, I've definitely seen that movie. I don't think I've seen the movie, but I think I've like convinced myself enough times that I've seen the movie that I believe that I've seen the movie. I
I
want
get
to
that.
see the movie.
We
Um,
should watch it.
yeah, mostly because then it'll be the only Frank Oz film I haven't seen. Um, but on this day in 2001, Beijing was awarded the 2008 Olympics. Obviously, the Olympics didn't start, but they won the bid on this day.
Yeah.
And the world's third like fully living set of septuplets were born.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
too much. This
It's
is
it.
pre Kate plus eight. Oh wait, septuplets, those are all at the same time. Kate's and eights were all separate times. Didn't
There
they
were
have a show about eights
they
though?
yeah no septuplets is only seven first of all.
Right, right. But
Yeah.
there was one that was
John and Kate
eight.
plus eight was twins and then sextuplets, so two together and then six
Mm,
together. Um, I think there was Octomom. That was
right.
the yeah. This was all way after that.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Um, yeah, so this episode was directed by Martin Wood, written by Robert C. Cooper, and edited by Kevin Willis. When I saw that, I convinced myself that I had never talked about Kevin Willis on this podcast. So then I looked him up, and he edited literally 3 episodes ago. So I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. Um,
His name didn't sound familiar to me when you said it, but also it's probably because like we have so many of the same people, so when it's someone different, you're just like never heard of it.
Yeah, he was on the editing team and then moved up to main editor for Exodus, which is season 4, episode
Mm,
22. So like
hmm.
literally just fucking
Just
happened.
happened. Yeah.
Don't did not remember
Hmm.
though. But our guest star is Sean Patrick Flannery. Um, and the weird thing was my friend said something to me on Saturday about a Sean Patrick Flannery movie, and I was like, why do I know that man? I don't know who that person is. I definitely know. It's because I had already done my notes for this.
Hmm.
But Sean Patrick Flannery is known for the movies Powder, The Boondock Saints. Oh, my pages are stuck together. There's more. And Suicide Kings. He has a 12 episode arc in Dexter. He
Hmm.
had 53 episodes of The Young and the Restless. And he was the young Indiana Jones in The Adventures of Young Indiana Jones. Um, so like not a bad resume there. The movie that my friend was talking to me about this weekend is a brand new movie that just came out in 2023 called Nefarious, which is an exorcism film, but it's also like a
Oh.
super political conspiracy theory kind of film. Like the guy is in prison and he keeps saying that he didn't mean to commit the murder. It's just that he's possessed. And then by the end of the movie, like you figure out that that is true. But like it doesn't seem like it at first. It seems like he's just like fucked up.
Right.
So um
Interesting.
but yeah, I guess it was super controversial. I don't know enough about it to have any opinions on said controversy. Um
I had not heard about it till this moment, so I
Right.
also have no feelings or thoughts about it. I'll
Great.
watch it, let you know.
He is also perfect. He's also a triathlete, and he studied karate, Muay Thai, and jujitsu. So like he could kick my ass in a second.
Right.
Yeah.
So like don't mess with him.
No, don't get too deep into the political controversy of Nefarious, probably.
Got it. Got it. I'll do my
Yeah.
best.
So we start this episode with a long shot of an abandoned city. And we find out that Daniel is like checking out some ruins, like Daniel does, and he's like working to try and understand this new language. And Jack is like unnecessarily saucy in the beginning of this episode. I don't know what happened in the last, like between the last episode and this episode, but Jack does not have time for anybody's shit in this episode. Uh, he's like, how long do you think it's gonna take you to like figure out this culture? And Daniel's like months, I don't know, but sure, give me till lunch, I guess. What the fuck?
Right.
And then
Like it's a whole culture.
right,
It takes a minute.
and then Sam's also working on like something and that she's trying to like decipher and understand. And uh Jack's like, how long do you think it's gonna take you to do this? And she's like, again, no idea. And so he's like, okay, whatever. He's like, I'm just gonna go visit the town, I guess. I don't fucking know what I'm doing with my life. And then he's like, specifically tells Sam, do not turn the machine on.
Right.
So immediately when he leaves, Sam opens up the machine. Just
Yeah.
like, I mean,
Immediately.
and
Which
then
was
she like,
very out of character for Sam.
I
Like
think I don't think it was because like it's not about the disobeying orders. It's like the science. Like she didn't have a brain outside of the science.
it is the science, but like I think it's because of the look she gave him as she like had her hand on it before she did it when he was like, "Don't do it." She was like, "Do you know what I'm talking
Meh,
about?" In that
yeah.
like split second, I think that's why it felt out of character. But like I'm not surprised that she went in for the science.
Yeah. No. But then she like feels wind, and then there's something like in the room watching her that like attacks her. And Daniel comes back in the room to like get a camera from her and finds her unconscious on the ground.
Yep.
Yeah. And then we get the credits. Um, still no concept of what the plot of this episode is at this point.
Mm-mm.
Um, After the credits, we're back at SGC, and Sam is like telling Janet her version of what happened. And like Janet's like, I think you're just like exhausted. I think fatigue is getting to you. And Sam's like, I'm fine. And she's like, you're not. You're like borderline anemic. And Sam's like, why did you let me go out there then? And she was like, because what are you gonna do? And Sam's like, I don't understand why everybody thinks like I should be tired. And Janet goes, let me think. And just starts listing all of the fucked up things that have happened to Sam in the last 4 seasons.
Yeah.
And she's like, maybe, just maybe, you should take a break.
Yeah, it makes me feel bad for being tired because like no one possessed my body once or
Yeah.
twice.
No, she's literally like, you had an alien die inside your brain. Your entire consciousness got transferred out of your body into a computer and then like back into your body again. Like, I was like, wow, I guess eating 3 dinners on a Sunday is really not that bad.
I know. Sleeping till
Um,
one, not that bad. It's okay.
it's fine. But Daniel is given his spiel to the briefing room. I couldn't think of the word briefing. And he's explaining that like the civilization is probably around like 3,000 years old, but the device is only like 400, and that there was like a random super leap in technology that led to like their downfall and of the civilization, but they don't actually know what the device is yet. And Sam just like shows up and like acts like nothing's wrong and just like immediately joins the briefing. And she's like, well, we don't know what it is, but we do know the power core is missing. I would like you to know. Dan has not watched Stargate SG-1. He has, however, watched 3 seasons of Atlantis because he likes to infuriate me.
Of course.
The specific power core that was missing in this episode is not exactly, but very related to something that comes up a lot in Atlantis. This motherfucker immediately just identifies it. I just looked at him and I was like, you watching this shit out of order really messing with me. Because then he's like asking questions that don't make sense or about who characters are, but he can identify the power core and an alien technology we've never seen before.
No, no. Dan, I need you to get back on our level. Come join us in this life we're in, not in
I was like, I
your
really want to invite him to be on the
rambling.
podcast, except for that he can't ever record on Mondays. But I was like, I really want to invite him to be on the podcast, but like, I can't do it until we're on Atlantis because like he would just say things that ruin everything.
Yeah,
Um, because at least like with Doug, he knows what is a spoiler and what isn't.
right.
Dan has no idea.
Yeah. I'd be the same way probably as Dan, which is
Yeah,
why I also am not watching ahead or anything.
right. So but so they're talking about this power core and a weapon or not a weapon. Jack thinks it might be a weapon. Daniel thinks it might be like some kind of like just like supercomputer. Like they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. And Hammond's like, it's okay though, because SG-16 is gonna do like a long-term location study and like work on it. Daniel's gonna help with some translation like from SGC. We've got it taken care of. It's SG-16's problem now. And Sam's like, like request permission to like go with them, and Hammond's like, not a fucking chance.
Mhm.
And he's like, the rest of you just like take some time off. And Sam is like, I'm fine. I don't understand why everyone needs thinks I need time off. I'm fine. I'm not tense. I'm fine. Like she sounded as
Sam,
convincing as
girl.
she sounded as convincing as the dog in the room on the fire. Like everything's
The
fine.
dog and what?
You know the meme of the dog and the room that's on fire? She's like,
Oh, yes,
everything's
yes, yes.
fine. Yeah.
It just all
That's
sounded like one word when you said it. In the room with the fire. Yes.
yes. Yeah. Sorry. I like 4 sips of wine and I'm slurring my words already.
You're just choosing to make them one instead of six. It's fine.
Yeah. Um, so like Sam's super stressed with the idea of taking time off and she's like, what am I even supposed to do? And Jack's like, I don't know, get a hobby, learn how to golf, knit something. Like the fuck. I don't know. Just calm down. Um, so Sam goes home. She feels really weird, but she mostly just thinks it's weird because she doesn't like know how to be a person. We know that there's still something fucking watching her, which is creepy as shit. Um, but also, that's a really nice house to never fucking live in.
It is. It
Like,
is.
and that made me mad. I fully understand that, like, she is very high up in the military. She's a scientist. She's like she has money. I'm not
Mhm.
denying that. But like if you look at where Jack and Daniel live, you're like, "Oh, these are men who like never come home and only have a house as like a place to be when they're not at work."
Right.
Sam has a full ass furnished nice house that
She's
she's
a
never
hosting house.
right, that she's
Mhm.
never in and she's the least likely to go home of the three of them.
Right.
Ma'am, why are you wasting your money on that?
Hmm. I mean, who knows? Maybe they just have millions, and she's like, I can't run out of it
I
fast
would
enough.
love to have waste my money on a house level money.
Ugh, the dream. The dream.
But so the next morning she goes out to her stoop to get her paper because this is 2001 and that was such a weird scene for me because I forget like people don't do that anymore. Um, but also she then has the creepiest interaction with a stranger ever. And I said, "Oh, that's why we don't get our papers anymore." Right. Got it.
Yeah.
Um, because this guy just like shows up in the middle of her street and is like, "Hi, nice to meet you." And she's like, "Okay." But then, because once again, Sam is not making the best decisions in this episode, he's like, "But this is where you live, right?" She says, Yes. No.
No.
Wrong answer.
No,
I'm
I'm house sitting, but I'm leaving in an hour. Like I don't even stay here anymore.
no, it's my uncle, the fucking police chief's house. Like you never say I am alone here in this house
Right.
to a
Right.
stranger. No. Um, so she goes in and locks the door and like looks out the window, but the guy's like not there anymore. So she calls Daniel because apparently she has no trepidation about the weird ass shit that just happened to her.
No.
And she's
I'm
just
locking all
like,
the doors, double checking the windows, calling someone to tell them that a weird person just came to my house and maybe like check in every couple hours. Like,
right. Yeah. Yeah, no, 100%. No, Dan asked me what I would do, and I was like, I would, first of all, not tell them that I live there. Second of all, I would make sure that every door and window in the house is locked. And I would
mhm,
probably call you or my mom and then realize that neither of you were actually going to help me with the situation and then panic a little bit. And then, depending on how calm you guys made me, call the cops. Like,
right.
but so she calls Daniel and she's just like, hey, like, have you solved the riddle yet? I'm bored. And he's like, it's the next fucking morning.
Yeah.
So he's like,
Like
yeah,
you're
no,
supposed to be taking a break.
he's like, I definitely solved it. In fact, it like has the key to the mystery of life. And she's like, you just got to work, haven't even started, and want me to leave you alone. And he's like, I will call you if I figure something out. And she's like, okay, fine. She's the absolute worst at being a human being of
Yeah.
anyone. Um, but
I have to
then
say
she,
I'm both of those people depending on the situation.
yeah, no, I get it. I totally get it.
Hmm.
I'm just usually so tired that I don't have time to be Sam.
Hmm.
So that's it. Um, but like a week or two is like the max. Once I hit like maybe like a month. I could do like a month, but then like a month of not working, then I'm like, no, no, no. I need something to do.
Oh, yeah, not me,
Well, and I'm not saying
unfortunately.
I'm not saying every day in that month will actually
Mhm.
be relaxing, but like if I it's like a month before I'm like I desperately need to get back to work. Like if I have things to do
Mhm.
to keep my brain occupied, I'm fine. But like for me, reading a book or watching YouTube videos or doing crossword puzzles is enough.
Yeah.
For Sam, it is clearly not.
Hmm.
So then she hangs up the phone and turns around and the weird guy's in her kitchen.
Yeah, I just kept putting, oh no, Sam. Oh no,
Yeah.
Sam.
Yeah.
Just on repeat in my notes. I was like, these are not
Um,
good things happening.
And then he says what could only be said by a serial killer or an alien. I followed you home and read your books and watched your TV to figure out what to wear.
What a fun game to play, though. Serial
Serial
killer or
killer
an
or alien?
alien?
Uh,
I, I'm in.
yeah. And she was like, what do you mean? He was like, well, I took this form to communicate you. I mean, I took this form again. I used to look like this. Again, serial killer or alien.
Or an alien. Yeah.
Um, but he says that he took this form before his ascension. We learn that ascension is a thing. We kind of already know this,
Yeah. But like,
but
not in
this
a
is
cult way.
no, yeah, but this is like the first time we really hear the words ascension. Um, his name is Orlin, and he followed her home because he loves her,
Yeah.
which only works if you are a dog.
Right. Yes.
Um, so Sam apparently does exactly the right thing for once and runs away and calls Jack and tells him what happens. And they set up a sweep team and a surveillance team, and they put like cameras and stuff around her house, and they're like bugging her and everything. And it's very obvious that he only kind of believes her. He like trusts her enough to like think she's not like lying, but also thinks she
Right.
might have a few screws loose. Like he thinks she might be so tired that she's fucking hallucinating.
But also, like, here's my thing.
Yeah.
First, it's Sam.
Right.
And she takes everything from a logical standpoint before she goes emotional. So
Here's
she's
the
thought
thing.
of
No,
every.
no. Here's the thing. We say that. And most of
Mhm.
the time that's true. But how many times has she just like jumped the fucking gun because of her feelings? Like she did that shit with Martouf, she did that shit with Cassandra,
Well,
she did
that's
that
true.
shit with the Tolan. Like she threw her dad to the Tok'ra without like asking
Right.
questions. She's
I guess
very
that's true.
logical until she's not. Like she is.
Yeah. But she's not in the sense of like, I think she would think about it if there was something in her house before she would like start calling people. And also, um, like we know that she just got knocked out by opening this thing she wasn't supposed to open. So why is your first thought not that like she's got something in her head now? Because this wouldn't be the first time.
Because they already ran all the medical tests, and the only medical thing the medical test said was that she's so tired that she can't function anymore.
I just wouldn't jump to that directly with
I probably wouldn't
give it a minute.
also. I probably wouldn't also, but if you think about it from Jack's perspective, every time in the entire 4 years they've been working together that they have been offered a vacation, Sam has not taken it. She does
Yeah.
not take days off. She does not take time off. She has gone through all of this shit without taking a minute to herself. You could snap. Like
Yeah.
Daniel has
Yeah.
already snapped and come back. Teal does his kill no Reen so that he doesn't snap, but
Right.
even then he just snapped and had to come back.
Hmm.
And Jack leaves to go fishing every goddamn chance he has because otherwise he will snap.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
about time that Sam snapped.
That is true. That is true.
So
She has
so
she has
like
held out a lot longer than the others.
yeah, so like I'm not saying I would jump to that conclusion, but I do understand why he's not
Mhm.
100% convinced that that's not what is happening.
Yeah.
And you even feel like he doesn't really know. Like he wants to
Hmm.
believe her
Hmm.
because it's her, but something just is off about this, and he's nervous that she's gone off the
Yeah.
deep
Like
end.
I would think that like even if she's like, there's an alien in my house, there's something not right, I would be like, someone might have broken. Like maybe we should
Right.
do like a real sweep and maybe they came and left and we just have to have like surveillance on the house now. Like,
Right.
you
Well,
know.
and that's what he goes with for
Right.
now. And then turns out they track her for a bit of time and there's nothing there. And so Jack is with Teal'c and Daniel, and he's like, "Well, there's no evidence of this like alien in Sam's house." So Hammond wants her to like go for a psych eval because like it's getting a little cuckoo.
Hmm.
Um, and Daniel is like, "Well, in other news, turns out you were right. The weapon on that, or the device on the planet, was in fact a weapon." Um,
This
and
is.
And so then Jack's confused why the Goa'uld didn't just take it then. And he's like, the monument outside explains the story of how they like actually wiped out the Goa'uld with it. So then the question becomes, if the weapon successfully killed the Goa'uld, what killed those people?
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah. Back at Sam's, the cameras are now gone. So of course, Orlin has reappeared. And then he says that his kind are capable of basically like emotional telepathy, and that he went into Sam's brain and is obsessed with her because she has a good heart and her inside is as beautiful as her outside. And he wants to try this spirit exchange with her again if she is willing to be receptive.
Yeah.
My fiance, for fucking real, looked me in the face and asked me if I would have said yes. I said, did you just ask me if I want to have emotional telepathy sex with an alien? And he was like, what if it was me? Like,
What if he was the alien, or what if you could do this with him as a regular person?
what if he was the alien?
Okay, okay.
And I was like, I don't, I don't know. I don't know how, if you were an alien, we would have gotten to the place where I'd be comfortable answering this question. Um, but I guess that is a good question. Would you let an alien like have like an emotional intercourse with your brain?
That sounds terrifying.
Right.
Um, and I feel like my brain's not the safest place to send people already. So I would probably say no for the sense of I don't know what the outcome would be. Like, would I break them? Would I break? Like, what is
Right.
the result of this situation? Because it's
Well,
not going to be just easy.
no, well, and the other thing is like the Orlin is like I looked inside of your mind and saw like someone as beautiful on the inside as you are on the outside. I'm like, what if you look inside all this and you figure out, oh no, that's not a place I would like to be.
Right.
There's
Right.
some dark shit in there.
Hmm.
So probably not. But she agrees. She weirdly agrees and says like, yes, but only if then you'll leave me alone. Obviously, that's not how that's gonna go.
That's
Um,
not how it ever goes.
so they do their weird alien light brain sex, and then Sam just comes back to the SGC with a camera inside a clock and like yells at Jack for still spying on her. And Jack is like, I have no idea what you're talking about. They must have missed one. Like we didn't, I don't know.
Hmm.
I got nothing. And um she's like, why would you still be looking at me? He's like, I don't know, because you've gone nuts. Like you are cuckoo bananas right now. And she's like, hypothetically, if I wasn't lying and I wasn't going crazy, would you want me to get more evidence to be able to prove it before I come back to you? And he's like, probably yes. I need to fucking pee. Please leave me alone. And while that was a very weird thing to have in this episode, I also understood it on a spiritual level.
Hmm. Well, it also felt like I don't want to give you a concrete answer because, like, probably legally, I'm supposed to be like, no, don't do that. But
Yeah.
also, like, yes, I want you to do that because then everyone will, one, think you're not crazy anymore, and it'll give us more to learn about.
But also, why did we need to know that he had to pee?
And just a cop out excuse, you
Yeah.
know.
But also, I completely relate to agreeing to something that you probably didn't actually mean to agree to because you just have to pee so bad and they will not leave you alone.
That does sound like you. That
Yeah.
does sound like you.
I'm like, okay, great,
Hmm.
goodbye. So then Sam's back at work and she's trying to solve a problem because the Pentagon has kind of ordered Hammond to get the weapon working. And Sam's like, here's the thing, if we do that, we have to like use an Aquila reactor, but the problem is if it doesn't work correctly, the Aquila reactor will explode. And we still have no idea what this weapon is, what it does, how many people it's killed. Like this seems like all around bad idea.
Right, like this is either going to be really good or really bad, and there's no way to know. Good luck.
So yeah, there's no in between. Either everyone's gonna
Right,
die or
right.
like it's gonna go great.
Or we save the world. Like you,
Right.
those are your options. Hmm.
Correct. So Daniel says he just like wishes there was someone left around who could explain it. Light bulb goes off at Sam's head. So she gets home and Orland's there waiting for her, and she's gonna go talk to him. Only Orland is now a human.
Yeah.
He's like fully corporal, and he was like, well, things were just going so well between us.
I want you to know when you gave me this little teaser last week or 7 weeks ago, whenever this was, about someone being in a weird relationship thing, this is not any of the things I thought was going to happen.
No,
Even had I gone to Sam, this is not where I would have
no, no. This is definitely one of the more intense accidental relationships
gone.
that
Yeah.
anybody
Yeah.
gets into.
It's very what's the one for Beauty and the Beast?
Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah, very Stockholm syndrome, except like it's her house
Except
and he just
for
like
yeah, except for
moved in.
not because and also Beauty and the Beast is not really Stockholm syndrome because
I know, yeah.
but but no, because the difference is like in Stockholm syndrome, you like your end goal is for them to fall in love with you. Like
Hmm.
I think Sam's end goal would be for him to literally not be on that planet anymore. And he's just like,
Oh,
we're
I
in
meant the other way.
love. Oh, yeah, no. He's like, we're in love now, right? And she's like, I'm sorry, what?
Yeah. He's like, I live
Yeah.
here now forever. I'm a person, you're a person. It's done.
It's like those girls who like quit their job and move across the country to be with their college boyfriend who didn't actually want to be with them.
Right.
Yeah.
Who's already
Oh,
living with someone else.
yeah, only
Yeah.
one of them is an alien.
Right. Well, that would spice things up. I'd be much
Uh,
happier to be in that kind of situation.
um and then as if things couldn't get weirder, Jack shows up.
With Cowboy
Um
Tilk.
with cowboy tail and a pizza. And he brought over a pizza and a movie. Well, first, Sam shoves uh, Orlin into a room and like closes the door so she can answer the door. And Jack and Teal'c have brought over pizza and a movie and they want to hang out, which just feels so weird. Also, the fact that Star Wars is Teal'c's favorite movie is my favorite.
I just, I don't know why they choose what they choose to put Tilk in for clothes, but I love it every time.
I honestly, okay, I think my genuine personal opinion is that Christopher Judge was like, what would someone with no idea about clothes who only learns about fashion from random TV shows want to wear? Because I don't know if you remember, for New Year's Eve this year, I did in fact post a picture of all of my Stargate meet and greets for the
Mhm.
2023. But if you will look at what Christopher Judge is wearing in the time that I met him, if you
Isn't it
see
tie-dye?
what it's like tie-dye long shorts with a not matching tank top and a golf hat with his hair in like 60 mini knots on the top of his head. Um,
It's beautiful.
it's beautiful, but it also has me 100% convinced that all of Teal'c's non like Jaffa outfit choices are just Christopher Judge having the fucking time of his life.
And that maybe he's an alien. Christopher Judge, not
That
Tilk.
is, yeah,
Obviously,
also
Tilk is.
possible. Yeah, that is also possible. But so she gets very awkward and like does not know how to uh handle them showing up to watch a movie with her. But also like Jack's like, we never get to hang out. And like if someone I never hung out with outside of work showed up at my house with pizza and a movie, I also think I would be just as confused and awkward even if there
Mhm.
wasn't someone in my house.
Yeah.
Um,
But
and
like they've
he's
been to everyone else's house at this point but Sam. So like,
right. And she has the nicest house, so like I don't know
right.
why.
No, it
Um,
makes no sense. When they had that big garden party, what was it for? I don't remember what it was for. A birthday? Who knows? You know what I'm talking about? I think it was at Jack's.
yeah,
Like the first time we see them out of Stargate.
right.
That should have been at Sam's house. I don't know who it was for. Should have been at Sam's house.
I remember distinctly the scene, no concept of who it was or why it was happening. It was like the first time we saw Teal'c in a not Teal'c outfit.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Anyway, Jack realizes that she's definitely trying to hide the fact that somebody is in the apartment or in the house, and he's like, "Oh my God, do you have a date?" And it's so sweet because it's like clearly like very curious but also supportive, and like I related to that so much. Um, because like there is this guy who I met in China, who is friends with Chris, and he's just like the greatest guy, and like nothing ever like worked out for us just because we literally lived in like different countries for the entire amount of our friendship. And but like he started dating this girl, and I was like so happy for them because she's like seems like just like weird enough to like actually like blend with him all the time, and like they like it's so great. And then like when I started posting pictures of Dan, he like messaged me and was like, this is like absolutely everything you deserve. And like even though like there was like a
Oh.
time where we like totally like loved each other, like we could
Mhm.
never be together. So like the amount of like, oh my God, I'm so happy they found it. Like I was like, oh, I get it, Jack. I love that. That made me so
That's so
happy.
sweet. Except
Except
he's
for
an
that,
alien.
yeah. So Jack and Teal'c leave with once again a very odd scene that I don't understand why it was in there, except to show the surveillance van outside of Sam's house, where Teal'c decides that he wants to go to a Jello wrestling bar, and Jack thinks that calling Daniel to join them will somehow be a good idea. And if I've ever wanted to see a mini-sode of anything in my life, it is of Jack, Teal'c, and Daniel all together at a Jello wrestling bar.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the fanfic I need.
You need like I want like mini-sode, sure, fine. I want a calendar with snapshots of these like random weird scenes that they're supposed to have. So like this could be like March. Feels very springy. This could be
Yeah,
like a March or an April, you know.
yeah,
Anything weird they've talked about doing and we haven't seen them do, put it in the calendar.
perfect. No, I love it. We should make a list of like what all
Mhm.
the calendar things will be. Um,
Well, yeah. I don't know
I
where any of my
do,
pens are or
I
anything else
do,
is.
um, I do also want a picture of Teal'c watching Star Wars and pretending to do lightsaber battles with his Jaffa staff.
Yeah,
That should be for sure in there.
for sure, for sure.
I guess you could have like one cute one of Daniel and Shara and Abydos before the world fell apart.
Oh, that'd be nice.
Yeah, that one could be like
So we
February
saw
for
them like
Valentine's Day.
briefly together.
Yeah, but you know. Oh, and then you have one of Jack with that lady he was dating for 100 years on that
The
planet.
100 Days lady.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Um, but anyway, back to the actual story. Sam and Orlin are on a date at their house, while also talking about the rules of the ascended beings and like what they are allowed to do and what they are. And Sam like tells Orlin about Oma Dasala, and he's like, "Oh, I've never heard of her." And she like tells him the story of her being on Cab and helping people like ascend. And he was like, oh well, then that's why I never heard of her, because she was probably banished for the same reason I was. And Sam was like, and what reason is that? And he's like, as ascended beings, we are not allowed to do anything and interfere in any way that could speed the acceleration of the ascension of the beings below us. um, I'm not going to tell you any more than the fact that this is really fucking important.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
That's
um, yeah.
it felt very culty, and I know it's not because they're an alien race. But
Yeah.
anytime I hear about Ascension, I just think of cults.
Yeah. I can't really go into it more without ruining a lot
Mhm.
everything,
Mhm.
but the idea of the ascension process and the others and the ascended beings, this is like
Mucho importante.
top five and most important things you need to know.
Great, great. I will
Um
mark it in my memory because I can't find a pin.
so basically the Goa'uld were coming to the people of Bologna and they were going to destroy them, and San Orlin could not watch this happen, so he decided to interfere and to teach them how to make this weapon. But then they saved themselves and destroyed all the Goa'uld, but also said, "Oh my God, this weapon is so great. You know what we could do? We could like take over all these other planets." And the other ascended beings were like, "Wow, you fucked up." And they destroyed the entirety of the race of people of Valona and left Orlin there by himself.
Hmm.
Um, And Sam's like, you couldn't have known like that's what would happen. And he was like, yes, but like that's why there are rules. Because you don't know what's going to happen. And you just like let fate take its course. And he's like, speaking of letting fate take its course, I became human again because I want to know if something could develop between us, and I couldn't live the rest of my eternity if I didn't know. That sounds culty. Um,
Yeah.
Speaking of things that sound culty, Doug did not know that Jared Leto was in a cult.
He leads the cult. It's his
Correct.
cult.
And we were watching the New Year's Eve countdown, and um, Jared Leto was performing the new 30 Seconds to Mars, like because 30 Seconds to Mars has a new
Mhm.
album coming out, and we were talking about it, and I was like, yeah, but like, and Dan knows I hate Jared Leto, and I like went off in a spiral, and Doug was like, seriously? So I pulled up all the pictures of Jared Leto from his island, and Doug was like, what the actual fuck am I looking at? I was like,
What
hence why
rock
I
has he
don't,
lived under?
I, Doug doesn't internet. Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Has he listened to music ever? Has he been alive since Jared Leto's been alive? Like, there's
Right.
not a
I
lot.
know. I know. It's like the most important thing you'll learn about me. I love Tokyo Hotel, and I think Jared Leto runs a cult. Like those are the two
Yeah.
details that define my personality.
Oh, I watched my first Studio Ghibli movie. Speaking of
Which one?
Tokyo. Castle? How? Castle?
Howl's Moving Castle. That's my
Yeah.
favorite.
Oh, well, that's my sister's favorite. So we watched it. I did sleep through about 30 minutes of it because I was very tired when we watched it, but it was good. I saw the beginning, I saw most of the middle, and I saw the end.
So good.
So
I love it. Howl's Moving Castle and My Neighbor Totoro are my favorites.
I'll watch that one next year,
Okay.
probably.
Okay.
Watch one a year.
Um, then we go back to the SGC, or we meet Colonel Simmons, and he works for the Pentagon, and he's like, "We're gonna test the weapon," and Sam's like, "Let's don't," and he's like, why do you have, you literally, he's like, "You literally found all the science for us to be able to do it." And she was like, "Yeah, like I know, but like I'm pretty sure that the weapon caused an atmospheric event that like killed all the people on the planet." And they're like, "Do you have any proof of that?" And she's like, "Well, no." And they're like, "Okay, so like prove it." And Hammond says, "I will give you 2 weeks to prove it because I trust you."
Yeah.
And so Sam goes home to try to talk to Orlin about how they can figure out not testing this weapon. And Orlin has made her a giant fucking emerald, like the size of my
Because
fist.
they're married now, basically.
And he's like, yeah, it's literally like Pebble and the Penguin bullshit. Like he's like, "Here's a shiny rock. I love you." Um, and so then they go for a walk because Sam thinks her house is still bugged. And she's like asking him, and he's like, I refuse to like let the weapon go off again. I don't know what's gonna happen. People are gonna die. It's gonna be awful." And she was like, "Then if you feel that way, like why didn't you destroy it?" He's like, "I did. And then you figured out how to run it without the power core because you're so smart and brilliant and beautiful, and I love you." And it's
That's why I love you, because now you can blow up the whole world.
and she's like, "Well, we need proof that the weapon can like be destruction, but I don't know how to like have proof without you." And he's like, "Yeah, I don't know either." And she's like, "But I don't want to turn you in." He's like, "Yeah, because you like me." And she was like, "No, I just don't want to like break your trust." And he's like, "No, it's because you like me."
He's like, we're married now. Did you miss something when I gave you this rock? I don't think you
Right.
understand.
So Sam goes back to work. This is a little bit while later, and the president has ordered the weapon to be tested. And Sam's like, "But I didn't have my full 2 weeks." And Colonel Simmons is like, "Well, yeah, because you are fraternizing with an alien."
Fuck
And
Tom.
he's like, "And look at all these weird things you've been ordering to your house on your home computer."
I know I only watched this 2 days ago and I had already forgotten about that.
And he's like, "You ordered cables and metal." And I'm like, first of all, if somebody ordered that many things, I'd be like, weird. Okay. Um, if a astrophysicist ordered those kinds of things, I'd be like, "What you working on?" Like,
I would have, I would say, like, yes, I agree. And I would also be like calling her up and being like, Sam, first of all, you're supposed to be off. But also, if you're not, what are you working on? Because it probably has something to do with what we're working on because we told you you can't be here. So we need to talk.
But I mean, but at this point, she's supposed to be working. She's supposed to be doing atmospheric
Right.
weather testing and everything. And he's like, you haven't even like done anything with the weather. How
Mhm.
do you know? She ordered a bunch of cables. What the fuck do you know what she's doing with them?
You're not an astrophysicist, Pentagon man.
Stupid suit. Um,
Stupid suit.
but then, the Pentagon is like surrounding her house. They're gonna capture Orlin.
Hmm.
So they go back home and he's not coming out, and Jack convinces them to let Sam be the one to like bring him out. So Sam goes in and she finds him, and it turns out he built a mini fucking Stargate in the basement.
Yeah.
And it's
So
only a
cheesy.
temporary wormhole. It can only work once, but like he just like in 9 days. Remember, they say she's been working on this for 9 days. In 9 days, built a functional Stargate in her basement.
Hmm.
So that's also an important detail.
Do we know what race he is of alien? Did they have a name? Did they tell us?
They just talk about being ascended.
Okay.
But we do know who built the Stargates.
Was it the ancients?
Yes.
Mhm.
So
So,
that is a
mhm,
connection that is necessary. For,
to keep in mind.
yes.
Mhm.
Um, then Simmons sends men in and to like capture them because they're not coming out fast enough. Orlin activates the mini jump gate and like jumps in and was like, Sam, I hope this isn't goodbye. Um, so she follows him because she did like Stockholm syndrome, decide she loved him. And
Mhm. Mhm.
they get to Valona, and Orlin like disconnects the weapon, but while he does that, he gets shot. And so while he's dying, apparently the others come to him and like reward him for stopping the weapon from getting exploded again, and help him ascend. And he tells Sam he's only doing this to save her. But then he steals the Napata reactor and flies away in his weird ascended state in order to prevent the explosion from hurting anyone, but also like still letting the weapon get destroyed. And then the episode just fucking ends.
And all of that felt like it happened really fast.
Yeah,
Like the last like 5 minutes was all of that you just
yeah.
said. It was,
It was a lot. I do have two very small and useless pieces of trivia.
awesome.
One is that we will probably talk about him uh, later. In fact, I think he actually might be who we talk about next week. But John Delancey, who plays Colonel Simmons, is most famous for playing the character Q in the Star Trek series, across multiple series of Star Trek.
I haven't watched Star Trek,
Yeah,
obviously. But when
yeah.
you said Q, I know this isn't correct, but my first thought went to One Tree Hill.
Oh yeah,
Um,
no,
those are not the same people at all.
no,
But that
no,
is
no, no.
the person I know of as Q in pop culture.
Yeah.
It's
Um,
what a time.
no. Q is a character across multiple series of Star Trek. And
Mhm.
Q is like an omnipotent being that is very similar to Orlin. So having this be John Delancey's introductory episode in Star Wars is kind of funny. But we will
I love
talk
it.
about him more, I think, next week. The other piece of trivia is just that in this episode we find out that Sam's birthday is in May, because that is the birth month that has Emerald as their birthstone. And that's it. That's all my trivia.
So she's either a Gemini or a what's the
A
other one?
Taurus. She's a
A
Taurus.
Taurus. Oh, for sure.
She's a
100%.
Taurus, yeah.
No question.
Right. So there's yeah. So do you have any thoughts, theories, questions, predictions?
I just like don't even know where to start with this episode. I was watching it and I was like, I don't know how to connect it to what I was seeing. I don't know how to connect it moving forward. I don't know what I think anymore. I want to punch everyone, but also like I think everyone's great. I don't know. I have no
That's
answers.
that's fair. That's fair. I feel like you will feel that way a lot this season.
Can't wait. Can't
Yeah.
wait.
But the only thing I will tell you is that this does have some important nuggets for the future, but also that because I don't remember every individual episode in order off the top of my head, I don't know if this is going to be one of those things where like it's super important and then we'll talk about it again in 3 months, or if like it will continue.
Right.
So just so you know, um, who do you want to punch?
The Pentagon and in Return the Suit.
Yeah, Mayor
So,
Colonel Simmons. He's pretty shitty.
mhm.
I am going to, because you picked Colonel Simmons, even though he is the correct answer, I'm gonna punch Orlin. Because in the end, like he did the right thing and he's not really a bad person, but like you
Looking
can't just
nappy.
like you can't yeah, it's a little bit like a little bit rapey, not a fan.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah.
So yeah. Who is your MVP?
You know, I don't think anyone was, but since I have to pick, I'm going to go with Sam.
Okay.
I'm also not sure she is because she did
Yeah.
infuriate me at some points, but you know, she's smart and she did try her best to do the right thing, it seems, even if it wasn't always correct.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm gonna go with Sam.
I think I'm gonna go with Daniel. While he wasn't very prominent in this episode, he did solve a lot of the pieces of the puzzle without an
Mhm.
alien telling him to do that. And he came
Right.
to the same conclusions as Sam, just did not have the ability to follow through the way
Hmm.
she did.
Yeah.
So, and he didn't let a weird alien into his brain
Not
for
this time.
emotional connection. Yeah, not this time. So like when he does that, he doesn't get to be the MVP.
Right, right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fair.
So that is that.
Do you have a
Um
little teaser for me?
I do have a little teaser. I mean, my little part of my little teaser is just that I'm 99% sure that my character that I get to talk about next week is Colonel Simmons, which is at least tells you that like there's a sort of connection.
That
Um,
is nice. That is nice.
that is nice. And honestly, I think that might really be the only thing I can give you because next
Great.
week's episode is odd. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah,
Can't wait.
no. Yeah, no. John Delancey will be the guest star that we chat about next week. And next week's episode is weird.
Great. That can mean
So
anything.
yeah, yeah. It, I don't know how to describe it. It's, you'll see.
All
You'll
right.
see.
I'll stay tuned.
Yeah. Please do. At least you don't have to wait a month this time.
True.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah. So if you have predictions, thoughts, theories, um,
Are in love with an
deep
alien.
dives into like what emotional telepathy alien sex might be like, questions about which Q is a more iconic character, Star Trek or One Tree Hill, um, any
Definitely One Tree Hill.
any of those
A big
things
emotional scene.
you can email us at deathandaliens@gmail.com or follow us on all of the social media at Death and Aliens. You can follow me everywhere at ENKAY_superstar.
You can find me at CE Cloud 13. I
And
forgot I was supposed to talk next.
we will see you on Thursday for another episode of Thriller Thursday. Bye.
See